What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and we had heard that this week was going to be a huge week for legislation, Congress, stimulus, and it looks like they were right. Wait till you see the video footage and the articles that are coming out, you guys, as we're hearing things are starting up now. And also, Bernie Sanders letting us know about things that he believes still needs to come on the way. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest. This is your breaking news, stimulus check update, and stimulus package update. Now, you guys, we had heard, and I reported to you yesterday, take a look at this, student loan forgiveness. Now, I had let you know that it got released in its beta testing form, released that video giving you step-by-step instructions on how to apply. Well, while that video went live, applications formally opened officially. So I've got video footage as yesterday it was announced. That is now available, that student loan forgiveness provision. It is still, though, facing opposition in the courts. We're going to be seeing what happens if they deem that this executive order by the president is not lawful. We will see, you guys. I will keep you up to date on that, but that is now available. Now, also, in addition to that, I'll let you know about executive orders signed by the president officially on Friday. And take a look at this. Hearing aids are now available over the counter at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Best Buy. And the FDA issued a rule in August that allowed adults with mild to moderate hearing loss to buy over-the-counter hearing aids. Sales began Monday, yesterday. So you guys, a lot of these provisions starting to come through right now. And in addition to that, I'm going to be sharing with you some video footage coming out from Bernie Sanders over the weekend as he's saying more needs to roll out. We've heard child tax credits, Social Security increases, potentially stimulus checks, all of these things, these provisions that would send direct assistance money to people. He's saying they still need to go out, and we're hearing they're likely going to spill over till after the midterm elections. But you're going to be hearing him say a lot of the things that need to happen right now. And he's saying that it would be a malpractice, misuse by the Democrats who are currently in power to not address the economy and the needs of the American people. And he's saying we need to send out more stimulus. Now, also, in addition to that, in this video footage, you're going to see him and Jake Tapper is going to ask him, is this going to cause more inflation? To which Bernie Sanders shakes his head, and you're going to see his response, which is the number one top concern of Americans across the nation right now. The state of the economy, the high prices, and just how to make it day to day. So you guys, let's dive into the latest, get you caught up. But before we do me a quick favor. If you appreciate the updates, don't forget, smash that like button for me. Helps me out with the YouTube algorithm a ton. Thank you so much. Also, if you want to stay up to date, totally free. Why not come join the Ram fam? All you got to do is very quickly hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. Any specific questions, shoot me a DM on Instagram at SteveRam3, best and safest way to get a hold of me directly. And also check out my second channel, Steve Ram Finance. But with that being said, you guys, let's dive right in and let's take a look at this video footage that came out from President Joe Biden yesterday on the official release, the launch of the student loan forgiveness website, the app, the program. And then after that, let's hear from Bernie Sanders on more stimulus.
Less than 8 weeks ago, I announced my administration's plan to forgive up to $10,000 in federal student loan debt and up to $20,000 if you received a Pell Grant for folks earning less than $125,000 a year. Today, I'm announcing how millions of people, working and middle-class folks, can apply for get this relief, and it's simple, and it's now. Studentaid.gov. You'll be able to fill out your name, social security number, date of birth, and contact information. No forms to upload, no special login to remember. It's available in English and in Spanish on desktop and mobile. It takes less than 5 minutes, and if you have any questions, you follow up. We will be able to follow up with you. This is a game changer for millions of Americans.
So there you have it, you guys. That was yesterday, President Joe Biden. And again, if you want to get information, step-by-step instructions on how to walk through that site in the process, check out the video I uploaded yesterday. It was on the beta testing, but it's still the same process. It's just official now to get that student loan forgiveness. But now let's take a look at this interview. As Jake Tapper, he's going to be asking Bernie Sanders about their strategy for midterms, stimulus, legislation. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Many Democratic candidates, if not most, are embracing a focus on one particular potent issue in their closing messages to voters ahead of the midterm elections.
Life.
The only candidate fighting for abortion rights.
I'll never stop fighting for your right to choose.
Politico reports that Democratic candidates, campaigns, and supportive super PACs have spent nearly $18 million to air more than 100 abortion rights-centered broadcast TV ads in some 4 dozen battleground states. But Senator Bernie Sanders says that focus, exclusive focus, is a huge mistake. Senator Sanders is with us. Thanks so much for joining us. Tell us why you think that's a mistake.
Well, Jake, first of all, I happen to believe that the Supreme Court decision overturning Roe versus Wade is an absolute outrage. I think Democrats have got to fight to make sure that it is women who control their own bodies, not the government. So I think this is a very important issue. But I don't believe it can be the only issue. At a time when we have an economy in which the wealthiest people, the billionaire class, are getting much, much richer while working people are struggling to put food on the table, it goes without saying that we have got to focus on the economy and demand that we have a government that works for all of us and not just wealthy campaign contributors. And the irony here is Republicans say, they talk about the economy. Really, not one of them is going to vote to raise the minimum wage to a living wage. Not one of them is going to vote for legislation that makes it easier for workers to join unions. Mm-hmm. Not one of them is going to vote to do what every other major country on earth does and guarantee health care for all people, nor will they vote to raise taxes on billionaires at a time when the richest people in this country, in some cases, pay nothing in federal income tax. So I happen to think the Republican line is phony, and Democrats have got to respond.
So might the concern be among Democratic strategists that, hey, Democrats are the party in power, underlying the economic problems that you just underlined, might be underlying the failure of the Democratic Party, which controls the House, the Senate, and the White House, to deliver?
Well, that's simply just not accurate. The truth is that inflation, which is a very serious problem in our country, is a global problem. In the UK and in Europe, in many cases, it is worse than it is here in the United States. So to blame Joe Biden for it just doesn't make any sense at all. What the inflation crisis is about is broken supply chains. It's the war in Ukraine. And I'll tell you, Jake, what else it's about. It's about the incredible level of corporate greed that we are now seeing. People go to the gas pumps. Prices are very high, lower than they were a while ago, but too high. Understand that the oil companies, the big oil companies, ExxonMobil and the others, are making record-breaking profits. You can't afford prescription drugs? Well, understand that the pharmaceutical industry is making huge profits. Food industry, huge profits. So in my view, what's been going on is a lot of these large corporations are taking advantage of the terrible war in the Ukraine, taking advantage of the breaks in supply chain, and just raising prices to an outrageous level. And I think we've got to go after them on that.
What do you make of the argument from Democratic former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, who last year was sounding the alarm about inflation, saying that the government had been pumping too much money into the economy, both during the early days of COVID, starting with Trump and throughout the first year of the Biden administration? He was warning that inflation was going to be really bad, and now he's saying, essentially, I told you so.
Yeah, well, I guess he told the government of the UK that, and he told governments all over the world. Inflation is a global problem. In many countries, it is worse than it is in the United States. Now, Larry Summers, I know Larry, and does a good job representing his Wall Street interests. But I think it is time we had a government that stood up for working families. And the questions that we should be asking ourselves is, why do we pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs when the pharmaceutical industry makes huge profits? Why are we the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people? Why do you have half of the elderly people in this country earning less than $25,000 a year, and you got Republicans out there who want to cut Social Security, they want to cut Medicare, they want to cut Medicaid so they can give more tax breaks to their billionaire friends? Those are the kinds of issues that we need to be discussing, in my view.
Right, but that's my point. I mean, the issues that you feel passionately about, paid family and medical leave, college affordability, home health care, housing child care assistance, you tried to get all those things done. They got cut from the Democratic proposal. I mean, there are Democrats out there, progressives, who are big Bernie Sanders supporters, who are saying, why should we vote for Democrats? Bernie, you've been fighting the good fight, But all that stuff got stripped from the legislation that passed the House and Senate.
Jake,
And
good question.
go ahead.
All right, Jake, that is an excellent question. And let me give you the simple answer. The simple answer is, with President Biden's strong support, we presented a piece of legislation called Build Back Better, which in many ways would have done more for the working class and the middle class of this country than any legislation passed in the last 50 or 60 years. It was transformative. We had zero Republican support, not one Republican who believed that we should deal with child care, that we should deal with health care, that we should deal with education. Not one Republican supporting it. Unfortunately, in a Senate that is 50-50, 50 Republicans, 50 people in the Democratic caucus, there were two corporate Democrats who chose not to support what the president and I and the vast majority of the caucus wanted. That's the reality. We had 48 votes. We couldn't get 50. My hope is that we will elect two more Democrats, so we'll have 52 in the Senate so that we can begin to address the long neglected needs of working families. It is just not acceptable that we have more income and wealth inequality today than we've ever had in this country. It's not acceptable that you got 500,000 people who are homeless in America, rents are soaring, and we're not building the kind of low and moderate income housing that we need. We need an agenda that speaks to the needs of working families and not wealthy campaign contributors.
So there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think that Democrats are going to be able to pull this off, maintain control in Congress, pass more stimulus provisions, and then after midterms, hold that control and pass more reconciliation and stimulus, as we've heard about child tax credits, Social Security increases, all of these different promises for legislation? Or do you think Republicans are going to take it in the midterms and then they're going to be pushing their agenda items while President Joe Biden is a sitting Democratic president? Let me know your thoughts, you guys, but whatever unfolds, I'll be sure to keep you up to date here on the channel so you know the latest. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far, you haven't already, don't forget to take a quick second, smash that like button for me, helps out the channel a ton. If you want to stay up to date, subscribe button. Any specific questions, Instagram at SteveRam3, and check out the second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to learn about growing wealth and personal finance. But with that being said, you guys, once again, thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.